Hello everybody, thank you very much for this opportunity to take part in your session. My name is Frances Crook and I'm the Chief Executive of the Howard League for Penal Reform, which is an NGO based in London. And we work for less crime, safer communities and fewer people in prison. And this session of course is on lifers, and we've done a lot of work looking at the policy on lifers and long-term prisoners, and our legal team and our in-house legal team has represented some young people who are serving life sentences, both on their sentence and on resettlement issues. Now, in England and Wales, of course, England and Wales is a separate jurisdiction to Scotland and Northern Ireland, there are some 9,000 men, women and children serving life sentences. Around 4,000 people are serving sentences of over 14 years, and in addition another 3,000 people are serving indeterminate sentences for public protection, a very controversial form of life sentence which has been abolished as a sentence, but there are still people in prison who are serving the original sentence or have been recalled. In addition, there are some, as well as some 40,000 people all told, who are long-termers. We have a lot of men, women and children serving very long sentences. Now, I'm not going to talk about the sentence itself. I know you have some real experts talking about that. But I want to talk about some of the practical issues and the issues sort of principle around serving a life sentence and what it should be like. Because the Howard League constructed something a few years ago where we were looking at what is it that people who are serving long sentences, what do they do all day? What should they do all day? Working on the assumption that there will be for some time to come a lot of people in England and Wales who are serving very long sentences. And what do they do all day? Well, actually what they do all day is shuffle about in overheated prisons basically in their pajamas, not very clean, and have a sort of completely purposeless existence. It's really grim and sometimes quite filthy. So what we developed was the concept of real work, the opportunity to do real work, not obviously forced labour. And we thought that this was a way of injecting prisoners' rights in a different way into a prison setting. Because employment rights, particularly in the UK, are very, very fierce, and they're fiercely protected. And as a balance against prisons, it would be something quite revolutionary. More powerful even than the concept of human rights, which have not been very strong in protecting prisoners under our legal system. So what we developed was a project, a prototype based inside a prison called Coldingley, which is a training prison. And we set up a business. So I think I'm pretty much the only person that's ever run a real business inside a prison, employing prisoners in exactly the same way as I myself was employed. Same contract of employment, same terms and conditions. Many of them were lifers, not all, but many were. They were paid the rate for the job. It's not the minimum wage, it's the rate for the job. It was a competitive salary they were paid. They paid tax, they were given a pension, exactly the same as my terms of employment. And it was a real job that they were trained for, equipped for, and they did real contracts. Now, it was closed down after a few years by the prison. Well, we closed it down because the prison service suddenly realised that when prisoners were paid tax, that did in fact confer on them rights, very powerful rights under the law. And the prison service didn't like that at all, even though we had been very explicit about it. So in the end, we closed down the project. But I still think the idea, the concept that prisoners should be employed properly, or should have the opportunity to be employed properly, and pay tax, save for a pension, is revolutionary. At the moment, prison life is so hopeless. It's a life without purpose, and it has very little connection to the real world, or very importantly, to families. Whereas if prisoners, and particularly men, who are the majority obviously in prison, had the possibility, the opportunity to work and to earn a real wage, they could contribute to families, which would be really important. They can afford to do things like buy a birthday card and a birthday present for their children, pay for enhanced access through telephones and that sort of thing. They can save for the future. They could be able to see a future. Saving money for the future would be very important. It would be citizenship through taxation, because taxation means you're part of the society. We may all moan about paying taxes, but it is the way that we contribute towards the good of other people, not just ourselves. Our own money is for us, but taxation means that we can help other people. And for prisoners, that's a very important principle for them. It's a very important principle for the wider society, to see prisons as part of contributing to the common good, the common wealth of citizens in a nation. So it's a principle that we wanted to develop. I would like to talk about. I'd be very interested if people have ideas. Please contact me at the Howard League for Penal Reform. There's a report and there's quite a lot of information on our website, which is www.howardleague.org. So please do contact me, Frances Crook, or let me know if there's anything similar, or if you have any ideas or criticisms. I'd be very pleased to hear from people from around the world. But thank you for this opportunity. I'm very grateful.